We will start the regular press conference by Minister Hayashi. Minister Hayashi, please. I do not have any initial comments. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Wait until you are invited. Come forward to the microphone. Tell us your affiliation and name before you ask the question. Ms. Imai, NHK. Thank you, Imai, NHK. Because of the rapid expansion of COVID-19 in China, I would like to ask a question. In places across China, there is massive expansion. Under the situation, yesterday, the government of China has reviewed the border control from January 8. They do not isolate the people. What is the view of the government of Japan? In regional areas, in pharmacies, anti-febrile and antibody test kits are sold out or the prices are rising. By next month, there will be the Chinese New Year holiday, which means there will be a rapid movement of people. There is more infection expected to increase. In order to ensure health and safety of the Japanese people, what will be the response? Regarding the pandemic situation of COVID-19 in China, the government of Japan is constantly working on collecting the information with regard to people's life, including the Japanese people and the government correction business activities and the impact on China. We are paying attention with regard to border control going forward by taking the balance between prevention of infection and economic and social activities. We will view the infection inside the country, outside the country, and the needs and the border control of major countries, and we will make appropriate decisions by coordination with relevant authorities going forward. If situations occur that WHO might newly designate variants of concern, then of course we will flexibly respond to such situations.
Thank you. Ueda-san of Kyoto. Ueda from Kyoto. In relation to that, I would like to ask two questions regarding Japan. On the 25th, the Chinese military conducted military exercise in the air and sea space around Taiwan. What is the response from the ministry? And with respect to minister's visit to China, how has coordination come out? So the announcement by China and with respect to Taiwan's announcement regarding Chinese military activities, I am aware of them, but I would like to refrain from making a comment to each of those developments. At any rate, peace and stability of Taiwan is very important for the security of Japan as well as for the stability of the international community. The issues with respect to Taiwan, we expect that a peaceful resolution is brought to such issues through dialogue. That has been our consistent position. So far, we've engaged with U.S., Korea, Japan, Australia, and G7. We have agreed with respect to the importance of peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait, and we will directly convey this to China. And I think it's also important to have a clear message communicated to China as a shared position. So anyway, we would like to continue to closely monitor this and continue with diplomatic efforts. With respect to my visit to China, at this moment, nothing is determined. We would like to continue to coordinate the specific timing.
Mr. Azahari.
Azahari, Panoramic News. Japanese media reported that the foreign ministry will extend 2 billion yen to so-called like-minded countries for military purposes. Would those like-minded countries include Middle East states, and they would get Japanese funds for military purposes? Thank you.
As Japan is facing the most severe and complicated security environment since the end of the war, in order to deter the unilateral change to the status of quo by force, and in particular to ensure peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region and to form a security environment desirable for Japan, it is indispensable to fundamentally reinforce the defense capability of Japan itself and to enhance the security and defense capabilities of like like-minded countries. In order to reach this objective, apart from the ODA, which is for economic and social development of developing countries, a new financial cooperation framework grant to support the military and other parties for equipment and material to respond to security needs of like-minded countries will be introduced. 2 billion yen has been budgeted for the MOVE budget plan for fiscal 2023. As for the specifics for the countries to be supported, when the budget is approved based on the needs of the recipient, the government will continue further review.
Nobira-san of Asahi Shimbun. Nobira from Asahi Shimbun. Regarding China, that was asked up front, border control with respect to Chinese travelers. I have a question. Earlier, if new variants arise that could be of concern, you would have a swift response. You said with Chinese New Year, many Chinese travelers are expected to come to Japan. And China has relaxed its border controls, and we expect many Chinese to arrive in Japan. So prior to the New Year, perhaps there should be some measures taken for Japan's borders. Representative Tamaki has make comments regarding that. Are you thinking of taking any measures? So, with respect to Japan's border control, as I said earlier, we need to make the balance between pandemic control and socio-economic activities, and we will look at the status of infections, the needs thereof, look at the status of infections of major countries, and we will make an appropriate decision in collaboration with the relevant ministries and agencies. China has issued a notification to relax their border control, inclusive of their notification, China's border control and quarantine. How would they impact Chinese economy, civic life, and exchange of people?
Last question, Hamamoto-san, IWJ. Good morning, Hamamoto, IWJ. A U.S. Marine at the U.S. Air Force has entered a workshop, has stolen a new car and caused an accident, but because of surface status, the person has not been detained and no compensation is made. There are repeated scandals in Okinawa and there is no punishment. This irrationality continues also in Japanese mainland. It has to be left to the SOFA agreement. This is we have no sovereignty, and there could be an increase in such incidents. Must there be a fundamental review of the SOFA to make it an equal agreement? On the 3rd of this month, in the city of Iwakuni, a U.S. Marine has stolen a car and has caused a traffic accident, which is regrettable. And the government of Japan has made a strong request to the U.S. side for enforcement of discipline and for sincere response to the victims. On this case, with the cooperation with U.S. authorities, the police, I understand, is conducting necessary investigation. Regarding incidents and accidents by U.S. military forces, this causes a huge anxiety of local community and may not occur. Going forward, for all opportunities, we will strongly ask for thorough prevention of incidents and accidents. The U.S. SOFA agreement is a huge framework, including the agreed minutes and others, depending on the situations, through most appropriate effects which can give a response. We have been dealing with each of the cases. By accumulation of such endeavors, we will constantly pursue even better SOFA. Abe-san, Yomiuri Shimbun, last question.
Abe from Yomiuri Shimbun. The other day, what was broadcast on a TV program, there was talk about USSC reform. Well, Minister, you said that you will combine Japan's roles as a non-permanent member of the SC and the president of G7. Specifically, what kind of image do you have as Japan's role? And once again, what is your view on the need for UNSC? Starting from January, Japan will be holding the presidency of G7. And as we address the international community's issues, Japan will be leading the discussions on these issues. And at the same time, the Security Council, which has not been effective in responding to Russia's aggression into Ukraine, we will be part of the SC to contribute so that SC can fulfill its original responsibility. And so I think we need to combine these roles agilely as we try to maintain international order based on the rule of law. On the 12th of January, Japan will be the president and will be organizing a ministerial level public debate on the theme of rule of law. And of course, for the rule of law, multilateralism is indispensable. At the core of that is the UN, which needs to regain trust and confidence. And reform of SC is an important part of that. And so I make comments in view of such a need. And with respect to the reform of the Security Council, rather than engaging in discussion for the sake of discussion, but we should initiate actions toward realizing reform. So we will continue to collaborate with G4, US, UK, and African countries and many others in order to reinforce the function of the SC and reform of the SC. It's now time to close. Thank you.